is your father? You are a gold digger. The daughter of a mere gatesman thinks she can marry a senator's son? A nobody. Leave my son alone if you know what's good for you. Mercy couldn't contain her excitement as she rushed into the house, her heart racing with joy. Mom, Dad, I got it. I got the scholarship, she shouted, waving the acceptance letter in the air. Her parents were happy for her. I'm going to the university. I'm going to be a doctor, she said. Meanwhile, there was a boy named Ikenna who was always with his friends. They were always seen laughing and teasing the new first-year girls on campus. Everyone knew them as rich playboys. Ikenna's dad was Senator Madu, a very wealthy and powerful politician. Few months ago, Senator Kanayo, along with his wife and daughter Ugoma, had visited Ikenna's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Madu. The both parents had agreed that their children, Ikenna and Ugoma, would get married after Ikenna graduated from school. They waited for a while. Ikenna never took the relationship seriously. Ugoma was spoiled and often nagged and complained a lot. One day, Ikenna couldn't bear it anymore and asked her for a break. Ikenna and his friends didn't bother much with their studies. They were too busy having fun and chasing after girls instead of studying. They spent their time partying, showing off their wealth. They believed that with their money and connections, they didn't need to worry about exams or grades. They would bribe their lecturers to pass. Meanwhile, as Mercy prepared to travel to the eastern part of Nigeria to start her education, her parents sat her down to give her some advice. Mercy, her father began. Remember, this is just the beginning. The road ahead will be tough. Don't let anything or anyone distract you from your studies, he said. Mrs. Eze, Mercy's mother, nodded, her eyes filled with concern and love. You know how hard things have been for us, she said. Your father works as a gatesman, and I'm only a tailor. We don't have much. This scholarship is a chance to change your life and ours too. Make the most of it, my daughter, she said. Mercy listened carefully. I promise I won't let you down, she said. When Mercy arrived on campus, she met her roommate, Chioma. They became good friends. Chioma was outgoing and loved socializing, while Mercy was more quiet and reserved. One day, Chioma invited Mercy to a birthday party. When they arrived, Chioma spotted a friend and went off with him, leaving Mercy alone. Mercy had never been to a night party before and didn't know what to do. Feeling a bit nervous, she accepted the drink and started sipping it. She didn't realize she could get drunk, but as she kept drinking, she started to feel dizzy and tipsy. Just as she decided to step outside to see if she could find Chioma, her friend, a random guy suddenly grabbed her and pulled her into a dark corner. She was terrified and tried to scream, but no sound came out. The guy snatched her handbag and was about to run away when someone appeared and rescued her. The guy's name was Ikenna. Ikenna didn't hesitate. He chased after the guy who had stolen the innocent-looking girl's bag. When he caught up and returned the bag to her, he noticed she was drunk and was trembling from the shock of what had just happened. As their eyes met, he felt a strange sensation he hadn't felt before. She reminded him of someone, and he wondered what she was doing out here at this hour of the day. However, Mercy was shocked to see that her rescuer was the famous rich playboy everyone talked about on campus, the almighty Ikenna. Ikenna, seeing that she could barely stand because she was so drunk, decided to help her. Just as he was about to flag down a taxi, Chioma appeared and rushed to Mercy's side, surprised to see her with Ikenna. Ikenna quickly explained what had happened, and he asked her if he could drop them. Chioma quickly agreed. Mercy, still drunk on their way back, started giggling and blurted out to Chioma loud enough for Ikenna to hear. "I love him so much. He is so handsome," Mercy said. Ikenna and Chioma looked at each other and smiled. The next day, Mercy woke up embarrassed, remembering that she had confessed her secret love for Ikenna while drunk. When she arrived at school, she tried to avoid Ikenna, but as luck would have it, she saw him at their usual spot. Desperate to avoid any awkward encounters, she quickly darted behind a nearby wall, hoping he hadn't seen her. However, Ikenna had spotted her the moment she arrived. He couldn't help but smile. Remembering her drunken confession, he decided to approach her, curious and amused by her sudden shyness. Mercy peeked around the corner, trying to gauge if it was safe to come out. Just as she turned, she bumped right into Ikenna. "I'm so sorry," she stammered, trying to look anywhere but at him. "No need to hide," he said gently. "I wanted to thank you for keeping things interesting last night." "I didn't mean to say those things," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. They both laughed, and for a moment it felt like the start of something new. Despite their different worlds, there was a spark between them. From that day on, Mercy and Ikenna started spending more time together. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. They studied together, shared meals, and often talked late into the night. Mercy helped Ikenna focus on his studies more, and in return, Ikenna showed Mercy how to enjoy life a little more. People on campus couldn't help but notice their growing relationship. They were admired as the best couple, and were always seen together, walking hand in hand around the campus. Mercy encouraged Ikenna to change his lifestyle for the better. With her support, Ikenna began taking his education seriously, attending classes regularly and actually studying for his exams. They brought out the best in each other. Then one night, Mercy had a vivid dream where she saw Ikenna laughing with another girl. They were so close in that dream that Ikenna left her by the side. When she told Ikenna about it, he just chuckled and promised her that she was the only woman he would ever love. Trusting his words, Mercy believed him, and their relationship continued to flourish. Ugomma, Senator Kanayo's daughter, who Ikenna's parents had told him he would marry, on hearing rumors that Ikenna was with another girl, went to his house and found Mercy there. She angrily insulted Mercy, telling her she was a gold digger, that she wanted to reap where she did not sow, and claiming that Ikenna was her fiancé. Ikenna, shocked by the confrontation, introduced Ugomma as just a friend and nothing more. Hurt and confused, Mercy left the house quickly and was hit by a car while crossing the road, landing her in the hospital. Ikenna felt guilty and worried, but Mercy, feeling betrayed, asked him to leave her alone. Afterwards, Ikenna told Ugomma that their relationship was truly over because he loved Mercy. Ugomma ran out in tears. Ikenna couldn't stop thinking about Mercy and tried contacting her, but she refused to talk to him. He realized he deeply loved Mercy and regretted the whole situation. Meanwhile, Ugomma came home from school in tears, telling her parents that she found Ikenna with another girl. Her mother was shocked and heartbroken to see her only daughter crying. Ugomma, being their over-pampered only child, always got what she wanted. Her father immediately called Ikenna's father, Mr. Mado, to inform him of the situation. Feeling overwhelmed, Ikenna fell back into his old habits of drinking and smoking, even though he had stopped since meeting Mercy. His friends Femi and Afam grew worried about him. They reached out to Mercy, who agreed to visit. When Mercy arrived, she found Ikenna drunk and depressed. He apologized and explained that Ugomma was someone his parents wanted him to marry, but he never felt the same way. Mercy listened, understanding the situation better, and they began to mend their relationship. 2 days later, Ikenna, feeling desperate, brought out a knife and suggested to Mercy that they take a blood oath to seal their love. As they prepared to cut their palms, Mercy's phone rang. She wanted to ignore it, but saw it was her mother calling. Reluctantly, Mercy stepped aside to answer the call. Her mother sounded worried. "I had a bad dream about you," she said. "Be very careful in making any decisions. Promise me you will stay focused on your studies," she said, and then she prayed for her. Mercy, feeling a chill run down her spine, thanked her mother and promised to be careful. She looked back at Ikenna and realized how rash their decision had been. She told Ikenna she didn't want to take the oath anymore. That night, Mercy found herself in Ikenna's parents' house, seated at a dining table with Ikenna's father and Ikenna. Everything around, the table, chairs and even the cutlery, were made of gold. Suddenly, she started crying uncontrollably. Then she woke up in tears and realized that it was just a dream. The next day, she shared the dream with Ikenna, who laughed and with a playful smile told her she probably needed to get treatment for malaria. Then one day, Ikenna took Mercy to meet his parents. As they arrived, Mercy felt anxious, unsure if they would accept her. Ikenna shared his desire to marry Mercy with his parents. They remained silent, and then Mr. Mmado, Ikenna's father, asked Ikenna to fetch something from upstairs. Once Ikenna left, Mr. Mmado turned to Mercy and began questioning her. "Who is your father?" he asked. Mercy, caught off guard, replied that her father's name was Mr. Eze, unaware that Mr. Mmado was actually inquiring about her father's status, given that she wanted to marry a senator's son. "Who is your father? You are a gold digger. The daughter of a mere gatesman thinks she can marry a senator's son? A nobody. Leave my son alone if you know what's good for you," she shouted at her. Mercy was left utterly speechless. Mercy ran out of the house in tears, unable to believe what she had just heard. When Ikenna came back, he asked of Mercy. "She has left," his mother replied. Ikenna later found Mercy and apologized, explaining that he had spoken to his parents and assured her everything would be fine. He shared his plans to travel abroad for his master's degree and promised to send for her as soon as he finished his studies so they could marry and live overseas. He asked Mercy to stay faithful. He promised that he would marry her no matter the circumstance, that even his parents would not be able to stop their marriage. A week later, Ikenna traveled with Mercy to Lagos to meet her parents and introduce himself as their future son-in-law. Her parents welcomed him warmly. Mercy's mother advised him not to keep her daughter waiting for too long, expressing concern that Mercy might turn away other suitors. Ikenna reassured her of his sincere intention and promised to make things right as soon as possible. A month after Ikenna left for his studies, he kept calling Mercy. He repeatedly asked her to send him her nude pictures, but Mercy refused, knowing it was wrong. A year later, Ikenna returned for a visit, but said nothing about their future together. After he went back, he stopped calling her. Mercy tried to reach Ikenna on the phone, but he angrily told her not to bother him because he was very busy. Confused, Mercy wondered what was going on. 2 days later, Ikenna called her and told her to move on with her life because he no longer saw himself marrying her. He accused her of being unfaithful. Heartbroken, Mercy realized that she had turned away many suitors because she had been waiting for Ikenna, only to be dumped over the phone. Mercy couldn't believe what she was hearing. She considered taking her own life. She cried and fell asleep. That night, she had a dream where Ikenna's friend showed her a picture of Ikenna with a baby. When she woke up, she told her mom about the dream. She also told her mother about the other dream she had in the past. The one where she saw Ikenna laughing with another woman, and another where she went to Ikenna's parents' house and saw herself crying. Her mother sat her down and explained that these dreams indicated that Ikenna's parents did not accept her, that Ikenna had moved on with his life with another woman and already had a child. She told Mercy that it was time for her to do the same and move on. The dreams were revealing what was happening in reality. Mercy thanked her mother and said she was glad she didn't take the blood oath with Ikenna. Summoning her strength, Mercy focused on her studies and graduated with excellent grades. Then, some years later, Mercy eventually married Emeka, a fellow doctor who owned a large hospital in Abuja. Emeka was kind and adored Mercy, and they had a son named Ekene. Emeka's father was a wealthy politician. One day, he invited Mercy and her husband, Emeka, to a wedding ceremony. As soon as Mercy and Emeka entered the reception, the MC announced that someone was having a heart attack and asked if any doctors could help. Mercy rushed over and was shocked to find it was Mr. Madu, Ikenna's father, with Ikenna looking worried beside him. Ikenna was equally surprised to see Mercy. Mercy then quickly checked Mr. Madu's pulse, performed CPR, and instructed them to take him to the hospital. 2 days later, after Mr. Madu was discharged, he wanted to thank the doctor who had saved his life. Mercy and her husband, Emeka, then visited Ikenna's family. Mr. Madu was stunned to see that it was Mercy. Overcome with emotion, he apologized admitting it was wrong to belittle anyone regardless of their background. He confessed that he had threatened Ikenna that if Ikenna married or even contacted Mmasi, he would cut him off financially and disown him. Ikenna also admitted that he couldn't risk losing his inheritance, so he married Ugomma, Chief Kanayo's daughter, and they moved abroad. He had come back to Nigeria just for his sister's wedding when his father had the heart attack. Ikenna also shared that his marriage to Ugomma had made him miserable. She didn't love him and only wanted to be married, but Ugomma eventually left him, leaving him filled with regret for choosing wealth over true love. Mmasi smiled and told them that she had already forgiven them. She told them not to judge people based on their background or social status. She also shared that she is happy with her husband, Emeka, and their son. Ikenna stood and watched how beautiful Mmasi looked. He wished he had never chosen wealth over true love. He envied Emeka because he knew Mmasi was a very good woman. The moral of the story: staying committed to a personal growth and goals can lead to success regardless of emotional setback. Not all relationships end in marriage. A broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. We should not make promises that we can't keep. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more stories. Thank you.